Hi babes, how are you? My name is Moran and welcome to my series Getting Personal, where I gather crazy stories from Reddit. We are still in the podcast format, but I'm hoping it's not for much longer. And today's episode theme is horrible boyfriends. Some of them are more horrible than the others, and we're gonna discover all of them together. So get comfy and let's go. The first story I have for you is coming from Relationship Advice. It's relatively new, 25 days, and it is: my 28 female boyfriend, 29 male, let my stalker ex, 28 male, into our apartment to leave me a birthday surprise. How do I handle this absurdity? I, 28 female, broke up with my ex, 28 male, 10 months ago, but he will not get over it. Despite me wishing to no longer interact with my ex, as well as me dating someone new, Cole, 29 male, my ex has been trying to win me back by doing over-the-top things like sending me gift baskets, love letters, chocolates, etc. Even though I've blocked his number on all social media and always ignore his attempts to woo me with his gifts. He never actually interacts with me directly, never waits for me outside or tries to talk to me. He just leaves me gifts at our doorstep and runs away. It's creepy and makes me super uncomfortable. Cole, who I live with, doesn't actually see an issue with this and says he feels bad for my ex and doesn't want me to waste my ex's money/efforts, so I reluctantly just let Cole eat the chocolates and other crap since he insists I don't throw them out. He even likes reading the love letters even though I tell him I don't want to. I don't understand why he's so chill about this because my ex and Cole aren't even friends and have never interacted, so it makes no sense why he's so okay with my ex doing these dumb gestures that he knows make me uncomfortable and creeped out. If anything, Cole should be pissed off that someone is trying to steal his girlfriend, right? Anyway, all of this finally came to a head on my birthday. After work, I came home to our apartment decorated in balloons, chocolates, and flowers. I'm immediately touched, thinking all of this was a surprise from Cole. Nope. Apparently, my ex actually came over with all this crap, buzzed our apartment doorbell. Cole let him in and allowed my ex to decorate our apartment and leave gifts for me. Then my ex left before I could get home. Cole apparently saw no issue with this. He literally let my ex into our apartment like it was no big deal because my ex came all the way with all these gifts, which was such a thoughtful gesture. Now I feel totally unsafe. What if my ex secretly left a hidden camera or something? I have no idea why Cole is so fine with all of this. I've talked to him over and over and he won't understand why I would want to reject free stuff from someone who cares about me. I love Cole, but the fact that he actually let my ex into our apartment was a huge breach of my trust, and I have no clue how to deal with this. Is this relationship just unsalvageable, or is there a way I can get it through Cole's head that none of this is okay? Could Cole have ulterior motives by letting my ex do all these nice things? Any advice is welcome. I just have no clue how to handle this absurd situation. Thanks. This is obviously an insane situation and an insane behavior from the side of your boyfriend and obviously from ex-boyfriend, so I'm not gonna comment seriously. I'm just gonna say, why don't Cole and your ex date then, since they seem way closer than you guys are, because Cole prioritizes your ex's feelings for some reason over yours because he would rather not upset your ex by you wasting his gifts than keep you from being uncomfortable as and yeah, this is just very strange. Something is definitely going on. I just don't understand how he's like so chill about it. He shouldn't be. Letting him into your apartment to decorate it, it's almost comical because he wasn't the one who planned all of these decorations and gifts. So he was like, okay, I'm just gonna use this very nifty little option, which is just letting her ex-boyfriend do it. So the top top comment here is, "This is not a relationship I would try to save. He has zero concern for your safety. My grandma let my ex in after we broke up and he wouldn't leave me alone. He got banned from my work and got a job at the car wash next door so he could stand outside and stare at me through the window while he dried cars. He eventually came in while I was sleeping and stabbed me." Her comment after she found out, "Well, you broke his heart and then you ignored him." Oh yeah, the classic, "Sweetie, it's your fault that you got stabbed by a crazy person." Honestly, this world never stops just surprising me, or more like confirming my lack of trust in humanity and belief in humanity. Luckily, the commenter is fine because later they wrote that it was over 25 years ago he went to prison. So yeah, they're fine, and we're moving on to the update. When I got back home on Friday, I tried to come up with a good plan to keep myself safe while I confronted Cole in case he were to do something scary. A lot of people put the fear of God into me in the comments of my last post. I invited my very tall and intimidating younger brother over to be there while I talked to Cole. My brother couldn't come over until Sunday, so I spent a day and a half awkwardly trying to pretend everything was fine, but I must have done a good job because Cole kept asking me what was wrong and love bombing me. Eventually Sunday came around, my brother showed up, and we grilled Cole about why the hell he's been so fine with my ex coming around with gifts and even letting him in to decorate our apartment for my birthday. I was not ready. All of you had a lot of theories, one of which came up a lot was that the two knew each other and or were working together to do this. If anything, I would have rather that been the case because the truth is so much more up. Basically, Cole has been fixated on my ex. He has essentially been stalking my stalker. Cole admitted that he made fake social media accounts, yes, multiple, to follow my ex and has been stalking his Instagram and Facebook. Apparently, my ex has been making a lot of vent posts about me and how hurt he is that I'm not returning his feelings and have moved on so fast, and Cole has been egging him on his alt accounts to get my ex to keep trying. The reason my ex is still stalking me is because Cole has been literally telling him to on his alt accounts. It's obvious my ex is unstable if he's listening to random strangers telling him to keep trying, and Cole is taking advantage of his instability by planting thoughts in his head. If I'm to believe Cole's words, my ex has no idea that it's Cole that's been encouraging him to keep pursuing me, but I can't be certain about anything this guy says at this point. So why, you ask, was Cole doing all of this? That is exactly what my brother and I asked. This was his answer: to give my ex false hope. Basically, to bully him. Anytime my ex angst posted on his social media about me, Cole got some sick satisfaction out of watching his misery. He wanted to string my ex along to keep trying to win my heart just to watch him fail over and over. Cole finds it hilarious that my ex is wasting so much money on gifts for me and that it's him who eats the chocolates and reads the desperate love letters my ex sends to me while I act like my ex's gifts are radioactive and avoid them. This has all been some sick game to see how long he can get my ex to keep pining for me. Who the hell even does this? I've been living in fear for months because Cole thinks it's funny to manipulate my ex and watch him be heartbroken. I cannot articulate how sick all of this is. How is this funny? What is wrong with him? He said he makes sure not to go too far by discouraging my ex to make direct contact with me, but I can't believe anything anymore. I've read so many stories of people who were dating someone who seemed so sweet initially but turned out to be actually unhinged, but I naively never thought that could be me. I was so careless and dumb because I clung to someone who finally treated me with kindness, but he is a twisted man who turned my ex into a monster by feeding his delusions. I think if he hadn't done all this, my ex probably wouldn't still be stalking dating me in the first place. My constant fear and discomfort have just been an unfortunate byproduct of his little game of puppetry. I can't even comprehend how someone could do something like this. I'm so shaken up, I feel like I'm spiraling. Suffice to say, I'm living with my brother and his girlfriend while my ex gets the hell out. I told him he needs to move out within the week or I'm getting the cops involved. He didn't make a fuss or anything, surprisingly. He just looked at the floor like a kicked puppy. He hasn't even tried to call or text me, but I blocked him just in case. I'm going to see if my landlord can understand my situation and let me break lease early with no extra cost, but if I can't, my brother is going to cover the extra cost in the meantime, and I will stay with him and his girlfriend until I can find somewhere else. My brother is seriously a godsend. I'm definitely going to go back to therapy as soon as possible because this whole situation has me unable to sleep at night, trust anyone, and I really need a better understanding of what red flags are in relationships. So many of you told me I was a pushover, and you're all right. It shouldn't have taken this long for me to call this relationship with Cole off. This is so fucked up, but I'm safe for now. I don't know what I'd do without my brother and his girlfriend. Thanks to everyone who told me to get out of this relationship because Cole was way more twisted than I ever could have thought. I don't even know if he told me the whole truth, but I don't even care anymore. I'm out. Gone. Never looking back. This is straight up sociopathic behavior. He was getting off on literally torturing another person psychologically. That is just not okay. It's actually interesting to me because it's not very characteristic of people like that to confess to everything and then calmly try to exit. But maybe he's gonna turn in the future because he might be just trying this out as a strategy to, like not fight it and be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry and I don't know what came over me. Luckily, we have a second update, so we're gonna see. And update 2 is called Stalker Ex-Boyfriend 1 and Unhinged Ex-Boyfriend 2. Here are the highlights. Cole has moved out, locks have been changed, still looking for a different place to move into. The housing market here is awful. I've been staying with my brother despite Cole having moved out because I don't feel safe in that apartment. We have a nice arrangement at my brother's place with me buying half the groceries and cooking 3 times a week. Kitty is now comfortable here. She was hiding under the bed for like 3 days. Still not sleeping well, but I'm safe, so that's what matters. I haven't talked to the police since before. I just couldn't find enough evidence in my apartment to make any kind of case since I threw out most of my Stalker X's gifts. Here's the pretty big update. Stalker X has been informed of Cole's doings. I'm just going to start calling Stalker X James to make things easier. My brother contacted James on Facebook and told him what's been going on. We didn't have physical proof of what Cole did, nor the names of his alts, but we knew enough specific details that it seems James believed us. I've been vetting everything my brother has been sending. James has informed us that he checked and most of the accounts that were encouraging his stalking have been deactivated, so it further backed our story and it seems like Cole is covering his tracks, probably anticipated this. From the conversation, it seems that James has been wary of Cole ever since Cole let him into my apartment for my birthday. He said he didn't actually want to come into the apartment and just wanted to leave the gifts and decor with Cole, but Cole insisted he came in, and that made him feel super awkward and uncomfortable. He was worried that Cole was trying to coax him inside my apartment in order to hurt him because the way he was acting was really off. He did his best to be in and out as fast as possible because apparently Cole just gave him bad vibes. Anyway, James seems pretty shaken. He didn't put 2 and 2 together that Cole was the one encouraging his behavior, but was starting to get frustrated by the encouragement, which James said bordered on harassment because one of Cole's alts would spam his DMs with ideas and asking for updates, and it was getting really intrusive. Why did it take this many months for him to finally feel this way? He apologized and promised he would leave me alone, telling me that this situation has has him really shaken up, smells like he wants pity, but I'm not falling for that. I don't know if I believe everything James says. I think he may have tried to play up his negative feelings about this in order to gain sympathy from my brother and me by proxy, but who knows. I'm not going to talk to him. That's hopefully it for the James side of things. On Cole's side, he has been mostly quiet, but something did freak me out. After I told James about what Cole did, Cole sent these texts. Why did you give James my number? Note, I didn't. Not sure how James got his number. What the is wrong with you? Why did you tell him and give him my number? Note, again, I only did the former, not the latter. Seriously? This is fucking ridiculous. He's blowing up my fucking phone, piece of shit. You are such a petty for this. Fucking freak. That was 3 days ago. Haven't heard anything from Cole since. Haven't replied to anything he sent. No idea how James got Cole's number, so that freaks me out, but that is currently not my problem. Went back to work today. Things are okay, but I'm still anxious. Will update here on my profile if anything develops, but things are stable for now. I don't know if there will be much new now that James is informed and Cole is out. Hopefully things will stay stable and can go back to my life. I just love that comment from Cole where he goes, "F***ing freak." Oh yeah, she's the fucking freak. Right, totally. She is the weirdest one in this story. And also, it's insane that they're having this like little stalker circle over there. So it's like the stalker is stalking the other stalker, and now the second stalker found out he's stalking the original stalker. So you know it's a whole thing. Love it. It's hilarious. But I genuinely hope that the OP stays safe and those two cray people leave her alone. And we are moving on to the next story, which also originally comes from relationship advice, and it is: how do I, 24 male, get my girlfriend, 27 female, to be more intelligent? My girlfriend is amazing, but she's never been the sharpest tool in the shed. She's great though, and very book smart, but struggles with abstract concepts. She's a pharmacist, so she's not dumb, but doesn't think deeper. When we met, I had a permanent change of station to Fort Meade. I was going out to DC for the first time, and I didn't know anyone, so I pulled off the greatest move ever. I'm super proud of this one. You ever hear guys complain about the ugly friend blocking you from going to the hot friend? Well, fellas, let me put you on. The key is to include the other friend in conversation. It's a good tactic if you don't have a wingman. Still, when I started talking to the two, I realized the less attractive friend and I had deeper, more abstract conversations, which I love. So much that I considered talking to her instead. I got both of their numbers and didn't flirt with either, but her friend disqualified herself. See, I'm big in my fitness. Unfortunately, she's not, but I figured this could be an investment. I told her how much I enjoy working out and eating healthy and asked her if she wants to work out together. She makes jokes about her weight and said, "Do I look like I go to the gym?" and made a comment how she knows she's not healthy, but everyone has a vice and she enjoys it. So I pivoted to my girlfriend slash her friend who genuinely has the greatest body ever. Still, I like having our deep abstract discussions and get it more with my girlfriend's friend than her. I love my girlfriend and even leaving active duty in the Air Force and just go to the Air National Guard or reserves, but I want her to develop the more complex abstract thoughts. Now, if that sounded incoherent, is because he writes incoherently, but yeah, the question is how to make the girlfriend smarter. Okay, back to the story. For example, last night I made a deep thought about the stars and universe and it went over her head. She didn't respond and just said, "I love you," and kissed me on the cheek, got up and started cooking. Like, question mark, question mark, question mark. Her friend would respond with something that grows the conversation. I love her a lot and our relationship has grown, but I'm trying to get her from an A- to A+ when it comes to our conversations. Normally, it is great, but when I'm in the mood for abstract, deep conversations, she can't pick up on it. As we go into year 2 of our relationship, we just celebrated our anniversary and started living together. I just want to continue to grow with each other. Okay, I can can't get over the I made a deep thought about stars. It's way too funny. I mean, this is the self-burn that he doesn't even realize, and it's making all of this post so much better. But yeah, generally this post is kind of nonsensical to me because he's like, she's very book smart, and also she's a pharmacist, but she like doesn't think deeper. And it's like, I can imagine kind of this guy and what he thinks deep thoughts are. I would not be able to date this person with a straight face, or, you know, converse with this person with a straight face. It seems like he's a very cute boy, mostly. Anyway, I'm making a lot of assumptions here. Maybe I'm just, you know, reading too much into this. Also, it reads like the only reason why he didn't go after the friend is that she doesn't have the perfect body and doesn't go to the gym. That's a pretty shallow type of thing happening. So yikes. The top comment, at least on the screenshots, is, so let me get this straight. You pulled off the greatest move ever by, checks notes, having a conversation with two women. Wow, this whole thing is ridiculous. You clearly liked your girlfriend's friend more, but you can't date a fat girl, so now you're 2 years into a relationship with someone whose body is more attractive to you than her mind. Yeah, I forgot about that, where he's like, oh my god, guys, I found the hack to the entire universe by making deep thoughts about how I can, wait for it, not ignore one of the women I approached. Can you imagine? Mind blowing. Cue in applause. I can't. And he's super proud of that one. Don't forget. Prince Charming. Prince charming. And to that comment, a P responds, no, I love my girlfriend. We have a great relationship, which is why I'm going to reserves instead of changing stations so I can stay here. You may be unaware, but this is a relationship advice sub. I don't need advice on the great parts of our relationship, which is 99% of our relationship. Of course, I want advice on things we can improve. And honestly, the fact this is the worst part, just trying to get her to think abstractly compared to others who deal with abuse, infidelity, and respect, shows how great we're doing. Okay, my dude, I don't know what else to say on this one. It's way too funny to me. So instead of trying to make my own deep thoughts, I'm gonna just read the next post, which is, my female 22 boyfriend, male 26, asked me for $1,500 to buy a Halloween costume. This is on Best of Redditor updates, but also originally comes from relationship advice. Me, female 22, and my boyfriend, male 26, have been together for around 4 years. I recently was asked by him if he could get a personal loan under my name so that he could buy a Halloween costume. I'm feeling a bit unsure of how upset I should be, or if I even should be upset about it. To explain his current situation, he has around $5,000 worth of debt and does not have a job and lives off of payments from the government. When he originally asked, I got quite upset since for the last year his financial situation has continued to get worse as I currently pay for his groceries and essentials, and without aid he doesn't even have basic essentials like toilet paper or soaps, let alone food, and can only meet the payments of his rent at the moment. When he asked me for the loan, it was about $1,500 and he wanted to have me open a personal loan since no financial lenders would give him any more money than he currently has on loan. I don't know why I felt like it was my breaking point, but I just cried and told him he was childish for asking me for money to buy something so stupid and haven't spoken to him for the last couple days. He asked me for money when he already relies on me to buy his groceries and is in so much debt from buying video games and action figures. I'm struggling to figure out what to even do or say to him. The reason he wants to loan so much from me is for more of the same non-essential things that got him into debt in the first place. A custom-made Halloween costume seems like an outrageous thing to want to purchase in his current situation, but he doesn't see it as a big deal since, in his words, it's not a lot of money for you, and I think I just need advice on what approach might work to help him understand. No matter how much I have tried to explain the strain his dependence on me to support him with basic basic needs has been when we don't live together, and despite me trying to suggest loan consolidation or a selected person to manage his funds on his behalf could benefit him, I feel like my approach isn't working. I would appreciate advice on what steps I can take or what approach I might be able to use instead in regards of talking to him and trying to resolve this issue in our relationship currently. I don't think this is someone who anyone should be in a relationship with ever. Like, if you have that much debt, it's bad in the first place, in my opinion, but it also depends on the circumstances. You know, some people can't avoid being in debt, some people just have to survive. If you already got into debt, it also is very important how you manage it, and getting into more debt with absurdly expensive, ridiculous things is not the way to go. And I can't believe that there is a person who would seriously ask that. Like, who would seriously be like, oh yeah, no, I'm a like 5K in debt. I'm just gonna add some more, like almost two, because Halloween costume. This actually makes me kinda angry a little bit. No, girl, kick him the out. It's ridiculous and absurd. In the comments, the OP also goes, I think I'm struggling and rationalizing it because my boyfriend has already invested about 700 bucks into the costume and has been stressing and non-stop talking to me and showing me pictures of what costume he wants and cried to me over the phone about how he has always wanted to dress up in this costume since he was a child. He has never mentioned this character or costume to me since we have been together. He stressed how life-changing this costume was that he told me I would happily starve for weeks if it means I have this costume, which I really don't want to have him do. And someone goes responding to that, he hasn't invested 700 bucks. He has spent 700 bucks he does not have. This is hugely disturbing behavior. If he starves for weeks because of this costume, he wins a Darwin Award. Why are you still dating this idiot? I have no words that would not be rude, so let's just read what the costume is. And it is, ladies and gentlemen, a Spider-Man costume with like ridged webbing, and it's screen accurate to the amazing Spider-Man costume from the movies. The top comment on the post says it all. Girl, come on, have some respect for yourself. This man is already a clown. He doesn't need any costume. And the update on the same day is, I'm sure most of you thought this was a dumb question to begin with and really tore through me, but for those who were kinder with their advice, I really appreciate it, along with the private messages that offered kinder words. I know I seem like an absolute idiot, but I think being with my boyfriend for so long, as well as since high school, made me feel extremely attached and like I wouldn't know what to do if he wasn't around. So in that way, I was definitely dependent on him. To clarify things, it was for a Spider-Man costume, and no, I did not give him the money. I spoke to him and he tried explaining that it was his cousin who forced him to ask me for the money, which I didn't believe and ended the relationship, since a lot of your comments made me realize I have a seriously low standard for my dating pool and will have to reconsider my standards moving forward. I guess the reason I indulged this man for so long was because I felt pity for him and his situation. He lives off government disability payments due to having autism, ADHD, and severe clinical depression. And I think as we progressed in our relationship, I slowly became his carer after his family moved away, and he had no one to take him to his appointments, especially after COVID. His carer quit, so he didn't have someone to help him in his day-to-day tasks. I understand now that should have never been my job to pick up, and blurring those lines made me become financially and emotionally used as he had no one else to depend on. Anyways, I have broken up with my boyfriend. I will try to listen to you guys and find someone who's more on my level of stability and self-reliance. Thank you everyone for listening and giving me the wake-up call I needed to get out before I committed to marrying or having children with him. Well, it's awesome that she listened to Reddit, at least in regard of not giving him money for the costume. Also, once again, oh my god, how fucking stupid this issue is. However, before we all rejoice that this is a happy ending to the story that we, I think, always want in these cases, I'm gonna tell you there is an update over a year later, and it's bad, people, and then it gets good. So, enough intrigue. Let's check it out. Trigger warning for abuse. I ended up getting back together with my ex after breaking up after this post. Super dumb, yes, I know. It was a really tremulous and abusive relationship that has become kind of dependent on that person to escape a lot of my home life troubles. Despite my ex being the worst scum ever, it was better than what I knew in my home life and what I thought I deserved. I struggled a lot but was able to thrive in my personal life and career, but despite that, I clung to my ex as it was all I thought I deserved. It only got worse as he grew to hate me and still depended on me. He monopolized all of my time, but when I was at work, he was talking to another woman and worked toward cheating on me with her, but was unsuccessful in that endeavor as she only wanted the attention but didn't want to have sex with such a loser. He made a choice when I asked to pick me or her and chose her, hoping he would finally be able to make it with this other woman who thankfully would not give him the time of day once the chase was over and he was no longer in a relationship. He broke up with me, then he picked her but didn't want to relinquish control over me and demanded to keep me as a friend. I was ordered to keep him in the loop about dates, who I was seeing, where I was going, and for how long. If I didn't tell him, he beat me, and it got bad enough he punched me in the stomach on the side of a busy highway while I was in my work uniform. I decided finally to stop pitying this horrible scum and leave. I regret all the years I wasted with the scumbag trapped in his abuse and lies. I thankfully kept him at bay and would only answer his phone calls. He had panic attacks and would call me every couple of days crying and screaming, but after he threatened to kill my family and make me watch and then kill himself so he wouldn't go to jail for it and would leave me all alone, I felt unable to escape. Thankfully, he eventually lost interest and got upset. I wasn't being a good friend and he blocked me after threatening to kill me if he ever saw me in the street. It was an insane relationship, not really encapsulated in my Reddit post because I was already being screamed at by hundreds of people for being absolutely stupid about it, so after being dragged, I figured it was best I didn't actually speak about all the depths of it. The whole relationship felt like an unreal experience between two people with severe mental health and self-worth issues, and I became someone unrecognizable when driven into a corner like I was. At least I have a whole lot of crazy ex stories to tell, which my friends lovingly dub lore dropping. I have had a hard start to my life from childhood till about a year ago, but please know I'm happy, safe, and doing well now. I have regular therapy sessions and live away from my abusive family and with friends who love and care for me, who have become like an adoptive family to me. Things are really well, and thank you for checking in. Alright, this update was insane. Broke my heart to read how bad things actually were with that idiot over there, and I'm so happy that the OP got out and that she's doing better. And while it might seem from the side that it's all so obvious she should have gotten out a long time ago, shouldn't have gone back, just want to remind everybody that it's really not that obvious from the inside, because I've been there, and on the inside you're just very confused all the time and you don't know what's happening whatsoever, and it's really hard to even think straight. So I hope that dude gets what he deserves, and at the same time I hope the OP also gets what she deserves, which is happiness and good life and adoptive family and just feeling safe finally after all of that show. The top comment here just encapsulates all of I just said, but in 3 words, which are what the fuck? And I do agree with that statement. Let's move on to the next horrible boyfriend, which is a little bit paired up on different sides with the one we had with the making my girlfriend smarter. You're gonna get what I mean in a second. Am I the asshole for trying to ignore the unattractiveness of my girlfriend. I'm 28 and she's 30. I posted this on relationship advice and I'm kind of surprised how much I'm being roasted there. So here I am with my question. There goes the saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. That's me with sex skills. I hadn't been laid since I was 20 all the way till 27 and now I'm 28. I was putting a lot of women off by my bad first times. Last year I got 5 in bed, none of them stayed for a second round. These were just random bar ladies. I got to know most of them and befriended them. So I started dating a woman without a lot of options. She's sweet and she's a nice person, but she unfortunately isn't attractive. I'm gonna be brutally honest, it's hard to have sex with her. I often have to take Viagra and even then it isn't fun. I'm wondering how I can get over this if possible. Also, am I the asshole for trying to ignore it? You are the asshole just in general, it seems like, and also, well, boo-hoo. You take Viagra and even then it isn't fun for you. I have a very strong suspicion that for any girls who have sex with you, it's also isn't fun. And they don't even take Viagra, my guys. You know, I feel like I'm way meaner in this episode than I usually am, but I mean, oh well. Oh well. These men make me very angry today. You're dating a girl you don't even like just to have someone to like she's a piece of meat, like she's something you can use because you can't get anything better. Like, disgusting. You're wasting her time. There is definitely a man out there who will love her completely for her personality, for everything she is, and for her looks, and for the sex, and for everything. And instead, she has to suffer through what I only can assume as below mediocre, if not really bad sex with you. It's just making me extremely sad. So yeah, no, why don't we all in 2025 and forward stop dating people we find stupid, gross, or like, I don't know, unattractive or whatever? Like, why do you people keep doing that? It's ridiculous. I don't understand this paradigm. And Reddit just keeps making me baffled in that regard because it seems like so many people who post on there just straight up hate their partners. I'm renting. Let's just move to the next story. And FYI, here the top comment was just ill. And this one is also from relationship advice. The guy, 29 male, I'm 25 female, am dating and his friends gatekeeped me about my hobbies and career. I'm feeling embarrassed. I need some help processing this. They made me question whether or not I'm actually authentic when it comes to what I'm interested in. I feel like I don't want to talk about my interests with anyone because I don't want to be pop quizzed. The person I'm dating, together 3 months, I'll call him Dan, recently invited me out to dinner to meet some of his co-workers. The first red flag was he invited everyone out to a Hooters and said they chose that restaurant because it's close to where they work and it's easy to get to. Which is true, but there are several other restaurants nearby that offer better food and a better atmosphere. Before he invited me out to dinner, he half-joked that his co-workers, all of them male, didn't believe that he was dating a hot girl that's into the same hobbies as them. Their hobbies that are considered to be primarily for men. I was a little irked at that comment, but he said he was just joking around. This pretty much became the catchphrase for the men that night. When everyone arrived at the restaurant, Dan and his co-workers were making comments about the girls that worked there and their physical appearances. This made me a little uncomfortable, but I didn't say anything. Once everyone ordered their food/drink, his friends started to quiz me about my interests. Many of them shared the same male-dominated hobbies I'm interested in, and they more or less just tried to see if I knew facts about the hobby, as opposed to asking me questions about what I like/don't like or what I'm currently doing in said hobby. For example, if my hobby was American history, one of them would ask an esoteric question like, "Oh, so so you like American history? How many $1 bills are currently in circulation? How old is the French Broad River? I also work as a junior automation engineer at a startup software company. I haven't been writing code that long, as I was working in QA prior and learned how to code while I was in that position. I'm really green and I know I still have a lot to learn. The projects I'm working on are small and I'm getting help at work. All of his friends are senior level software engineers and were quizzing me about my work and trying to see how much I actually know. They were asking about advanced things I did not know about and were asking me technical questions that don't even apply to my job. But they were all smiling and laughing and would frequently say something like, "Oh, we're just kidding." At one point, I felt like I was at some weird interview and was taking one question at a time from each D-bag at the table. I know I stopped fake smiling at some point and just emotionlessly answered their questions. I think one of them became self-aware because he just looked down at his phone for the rest of the evening, didn't ask me anything else, and just looked uncomfortable. When they weren't asking pointed questions at me, they were talking to each other and ignoring me. I'd be interrupted if I tried to include my thoughts on the subject, or they would nod at me and look away to someone else. I should mention all of these guys were 5 to 10 years older than me. I'm 25, the guy I'm dating is 29, and his co-workers are in their early mid-30s. I don't have as much experience as they do. Part of me was hoping I could meet peers who could have helped guide me or answer my questions about their careers. Instead, one of them literally asked me to give him an SQL query. They all kept saying they were just kidding around or just joking and laughing about it, but it was so cringy. Dan was sitting beside me and wasn't stopping this behavior from his coworkers. He was coaching me, I guess, saying things like, "Oh, you know this one," or "Come on, you got this. We talked about this last week." Dan also made the comment of, "See, she's really smart too," to one of the guys at the table. That whole night was just awful. He was actually irritated at me because he saw my whole mood change while I was being quizzed by his friends. He said he noticed me having an attitude with his coworkers when they were just having fun and trying to get to know me. That it was immature of me to have been so obviously annoyed, and that I audibly sighed multiple times when one of his friends spoke to me. I can't stop seeing Dan as a super cringy dude now. I thought he was acting ridiculous and seemed more like a 13-year-old boy as opposed to someone who's supposed to be turning 30 in a couple of months. I'm pretty sure I can't go on with a relationship at this point. I don't think this is an overreaction on my part if I were to break up with him. Is it within reason to end a relationship after this event? Everything was going fine before this happened, but now I just feel gross. The dinner happened last night and I haven't returned any of his texts today. I know ghosting is wrong, but I don't want to look at him or speak to him. The thought of him just kind of disgusts me at this point. I've never felt like someone's show poodle before. I don't know if I'll feel differently in a week or if I'm unjustified in my anger. It's not an overreaction to break up with him, because if he did not stop that behavior, he clearly is on board with that behavior, and yikes. Absolutely freaking yikes. Please don't just pretend it didn't happen or like smooth it over, because they will not stop treating you like that, and it is infuriating, and it just is even more infuriating that your boyfriend was actually annoyed at you, though I'm not very surprised. He was annoyed at you that you like sighed several times when his friends spoke to you. My goodness, they're lucky that you just sighed, because, you know, not everybody has your angelic patience. What the they asked you for an SQL query? Okay. Okay, they're so that's it. Also, it's all made so much worse by the fact that this is happening at Hooters, you know? So they're either being just generally D-bags or they're being a D-bag specifically to the OP. It's kind of like almost a scene from some like very corny American comedy. That's literally how I see it. There has to be like some stupid music playing in the background. And on to the update. After the post, I decided it would be best to end things through a phone call. I mentioned ghosting, but it's probably best he knows how and why he up. I waited until Saturday to reach out to him, told him we need to talk. I'm paraphrasing here, but this is basically what the convo went like. Dan, this is about the dinner, isn't it? Me, yeah, it is. Dan, and me, I don't think I've ever felt so uncomfortable in a group before. It felt like a shitty interview. All they did was test my knowledge. No one tried to get to know me, and when actual conversation was going on, I was ignored or interrupted if I tried to talk. Dan, I don't feel like it was anything like that. Me, okay, so how often do you guys sit around just asking questions like, quick, what is the SQL query if you want to delete 2 rows from 2 different tables? Dan, I don't know. Me, no, really, do you quiz your friends randomly like that at work or out and about? Dan, no, not really. Me, and why not? Why don't you just ask lightning round quizzes like that? Because it's not what normal people do? Dan, I don't know. They were just having fun and joking around. Me, it wasn't fun for me. I have male and female friends in all sorts of professions. I've never cornered any of them to test their knowledge. I trust they know what they're doing. I ask them about work, what they're doing, normal questions. Dan, okay, I'm not going to print out a CPA exam and quiz my accountant friend. Don't you think that would be a little up? Dan, I don't know, maybe. We talked a little more about that night and I gave him more specific examples of what he and his friends did, and he never really had any good answers. It was a lot of I don't know and single word answers. I told him I created a Reddit post and I would send it to him. He was a little pissed off that I did that, felt like I had no right to do so. At the end of the conversation, he asked me if we were done. I told him yeah, that I can't see a future with him, that I saw a different side of him that night, and I don't want to be someone's prize poodle on display for the world to see. He didn't really say anything after that and just hung up the phone. I sent him the URL to my first post. He texted me throughout the weekend, but I didn't respond. He read the post that I sent him and wasn't happy with it and said he couldn't believe so many people were on my side and were hating on him. He sent a few more angry texts after that, like he couldn't believe we were breaking up over something so stupid. He did send a few rounds of I'm sorry's and let's try to work through this, but when I didn't respond, he just went back to angry texting me. Also, I did find his friend who buried his head in his phone that night and sent him the Reddit link and asked if that sounded like what happened. Dan's friend said he knew what his friends were doing were wrong and felt bad for me. He apologized for not stepping in and assumed that Dan would eventually speak up for me on my behalf. He also apologized for joining them in the beginning and wished me luck in my career. Oh wow, how am I not surprised that he flipped on you and that he was not understanding whatsoever what you were trying to explain. Good riddance, and actually, yeah, good luck to you in your career and personal life. The top comment here is, I will never understand dudes who are really out there in the streets cock blocking themselves with their whole chest. 1. Meet a woman who is, check notes, hot, by his own admission, smart, starting a career with high earning potential and options for advancement, shares his personal interests. 2. Must blow it up in the most ridiculous, outrageous manner possible. There's gotta be fewer steps to just handing your money to Fleshlight. This comment is in gold, and we're moving on to the next story, which is my 29 female boyfriend, 28 male, of 5 years has become infatuated with female Twitch streamers and it's making me feel like crap. So I knew he was into video games when we started dating. I'm basically the opposite of him in that department. I've never been interested in anything video game related. That entire nerd culture is not for me. Mind you, I have made an effort to understand his hobby, and over the years I've even found games I enjoy playing, but I would definitely not consider gaming to be a hobby of mine. I'll play rhythm games like once a week for an hour at most, for example. In the beginning of the relationship, first couple of years or so, it was pretty difficult getting through to him because he was constantly on World of Warcraft. We had to set boundaries later on because I found he wasn't making any time for me and he was constantly on Twitch, either watching or streaming himself or playing World of Warcraft or League of Legends or whatever else. It got pretty bad, but we worked through it. His obsession with Twitch kind of dwindled down and we were both seemingly happy. However, and I feel dirty even writing this, I feel worthless and absolutely disgusting and unwanted. Please don't judge me too harshly. One night before bed, as I was getting ready to lay down, he was watching a stream on his tablet of some famous Twitch female streamer. I happened to glance over and she was pretty scantily clad, big nerd glasses, tits hanging out. I thought, whatever, it's just him watching a game. This went on for a few nights in a row. Each time it was a different girl. He'd watch for a bit, turn it off, and immediately want to have sex. I've secretly felt like over it, but I guess last night kinda broke the camel's back. He set up a stream, started coming on to me in bed, and left his tablet propped up on the night table. I was going along with his advances, but attempted to close the tablet when he told me, no, leave it on. I want to watch her while I do you. I was pretty much in shock. Didn't know how to respond, started crying, and left for the night. He didn't even really attempt to stop me. I got a half-assed sorry as I was leaving. Thankfully, my parents live like 5 minutes away, so I spent the night there. Since I left, he's attempted to call twice and he texted me twice. One text was to tell me I'm overreacting. Am I? How do I approach this? I thought we were over it. I thought we had a decent relationship, but he clearly prefers watching women play video games over just having sex with me. Do I approach him or wait for him to approach me? You break up with him because that's just horrible, disgusting behavior. That's all I have to say with that. In the relevant comments, we have, you're not worthless or disgusting. What your boyfriend did was extremely disrespectful and you are right to be upset. Watching scantily clad girls is one thing. Plenty of people like to watch or other similar things. What he's doing is basically using your body while he thinks of other people, which is pretty gross. Be firm with your boundaries. If he still brushes it off, then you should probably get a better boyfriend. To which the OP goes, yeah, which is why I feel like absolute shit. I don't think he realizes this, and to me it seems like he sees nothing wrong with what he did. He has accused me of overreacting and has basically said that other guys probably do it, so it's fine. He's hinted at masturbating to this Twitch content before, not even do men actively masturbate to women playing video games? That seems odd to me. I don't know. I feel used and dirty. I mean, I feel like everybody masturbates over all of the different things, not necessarily. And yeah, it can be odd and whatever, but it's not the point. It's just the way he doesn't see you as a human being and he didn't even think of asking you if you would mind while he uses you as a sex toy. So yeah, no, absolutely abhorrent. And I also love how he's like, other guys probably do it too, so it's fine. If it's fine, you can go and do it by yourself. Don't involve another living human being in it because it's not fine. And we have an update from the next day. Last night, I decided to get together for coffee with him, mostly because my mother urged me to. I never told her the extent of what exactly happened, but she knows it's video game related because we've gone over this problem before in the past. Anyway, I initiated the conversation via text and he agreed to meet me. I guess I don't know what I was expecting. Closure maybe? Because I was pretty sure I wanted to end it and stop trying to work things out because I've been working things out for the past 5 years. It's just become tiring. Anyway, he got into defense mode right away, basically listing all the things I've done wrong in the relationship and why he's over me. These are the things I've done wrong. 1. I declined going to Korea last year for vacation. He so badly wanted to go. I knew if I went, I'd be left alone every day because his buddy would have come too. Also, there was a big League of Legends tournament happening at the time, so he would have been doing League of Legends related things and mentally masturbating to the cosplayers all the time while I explored the city alone or hung out in a hotel. I said I wasn't interested in going. He got huffy but eventually got over it, or so I thought. 2. I changed my appearance even though I knew he liked women with long brown hair. I decided to cut my hair fairly short and bleach it blonde not too long ago. It was time for a change anyway, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. He was not. 3. I always refused to wear wear revealing clothing. He'd constantly badger me about how I don't wear enough stuff that shows off my tits and legs. I'm fairly modest, I'm not into that kind of stuff. I'm more comfortable in a t-shirt and jeans. He'd want me to wear sundresses and plunging tank tops. I always said no. 4. My birthday gift this year was a pair of those giant wraparound headphones. Headgear, I don't know what they're called. All the Twitch streamers are wearing them. But he spent a fairly good amount of money on them, which sounds sweet, I guess. But I had originally complained that my old headphones suck and I need new ones for the gym. He got me these bulky ones and got upset that I don't wear them much. He's asked me in the past to wear them, put my hair in pigtails, and wear revealing clothing around the house while wearing my glasses. I'm not even kidding. This guy is a major stereotype. 5. I didn't play LOL and I didn't enjoy sitting on the couch watching him play hours of LOL. I don't know how to play the game. I tried numerous times. I suck. I didn't enjoy myself. Why would I keep at it? 6. I was not open-minded about anything. This is pertaining to the situation in the original post. I'm not open-minded enough about being his flashlight, so this hurt his feelings too. I'm not accepting of his kinks, which is a total lie because I've agreed to do some pretty out there stuff in the past to appease him. I'm very open-minded about sex. I would have appreciated a forewarning about the Twitch girl joining us in bed though. 7. I don't get along with his friends. I tried to so hard. I tried to relate to those guys like you wouldn't believe. But they all literally have zero skills, they're awkward, and blatantly ignored my existence whenever I was around. They'd start talking about things they're interested in and just disregard anything I ever said. They would invite him to board game nights asking if I'd be going too, like they don't want me there. I was pretty much an outcast, so no, I tried. They just didn't want to be around me. So, in conclusion, I told him I was done. He didn't really react dramatically. I think he's done with the relationship too. He can watch all the Twitch he wants now and play LOL for 23 hours of the day. That must be quite a relief. I'm going to the apartment to pick up whatever I can later. I'm staying with my parents until I find a new place. I feel oddly calm and okay with everything that's gone down in these last couple days. This is almost a relief. Thanks everyone. There could be a lot to pick apart here and comment on, but yeah, bottom line is just how she says this guy is a major stereotype. He should be only dating his computer and hand, and that's it. He has a lot of growing to do if he's even able to do that, and let him do it all by himself. And I'm really glad that the OP broke up with him because he is ridiculous. His emotional maturity is not even out of an egg yet, so it needs to see the light of day first before it can grow into something fully formed. So yeah, no, bye-bye. The top comment here is, might as well strap the tablet to her face if he's going to be that blatant about it. Jeez. Yeah, exactly. Also, I am horrified to imagine what the OP could have meant by agreeing to do some pretty out there stuff to appease him, referring to things in bed. And I feel like I don't want to know. I don't want to. There are some things that you just don't want to know. And we are moving on to the last story of the day, which is certifiably f***ed up. Okay, am I the asshole for refusing to sell my horse? Me, 24 female, and my boyfriend, 26 male, have been dating for around 9 months. I've been riding horses since about 4 years old when I started taking lessons. When I was 10, I started helping out this girl at the stable with her horse, Lady. At 12, she told me she had to sell due to time/interest and asked if me and my parents wanted to buy Lady. Luckily for me, my parents were able to buy her and she's been mine ever since. She's my bestest friend and I love her a lot. When I started to date my boyfriend, I was very honest with the fact that my horse takes a lot of time and he was fine with this. When single, I could spend like 3 to 4 hours a day in the stable, but as we started dating, I cut this down to about 3 hours every other day, as this is roughly how long it takes for me to do all the cleaning, preparing food, and riding. Also, most of my friends are at the stable, which obviously means this is also social for me. The other days days I would not write and try to spend less time talking, which would make it about an hour. After about 6 months, he told me I spent too much time at the stable and I should prioritize my relationship more, and somehow his family got involved and saying it was strange to prioritize the way I did. I wasn't comfortable with this, but I'm a bit of a pushover, so I agreed. At first, this meant cutting down time at the stable, but it has evolved into cutting down riding days. Now I ride about 2 days a week, and the rest I'm simply there to do the basics. All of this as quickly as I can because otherwise I know he will be annoyed and pissed off for days and give me the silent treatment. I know my horse isn't really suffering from not being ridden as often as before, but I still feel very guilty that I'm always rushing around her. Then last night he told me it was time to sell Lady. I laughed at him and asked if he was serious. He was. I told him no, and he said I needed to start prioritizing this relationship more, and I said I've done nothing but prioritize this relationship. We argued about it, and he apparently thinks I can just put her down as she is old anyways. I was furious at this and told him that was absolutely not happening and I would never sell her. He said that any reasonable person would sell or put down their horse in favor of their boyfriend, and the only reason I wouldn't is because I only hang out with other insane horse people. So I come to you, reasonable people of Reddit. Am I the asshole? This might sound rough, but I feel like the boyfriend needs to be put down. End of discussion. Honestly, with people who can just so flippantly talk about getting rid of a beloved pet or putting them down, which is killing them without need, there should be no interaction whatsoever. Like, just turn around and walk away. There is something wrong with them, and I can't fathom what a nightmare place their heads must be. Like, what the you mean just put her down? Let's just kill your best friend, right? Because you should focus more on our relationship. But, my darlings, this gets worse. So much worse. 4 days later comes an update. You guys were right. I don't know why I didn't see it myself, but this behavior of isolating me has been going on for a while. He would say it was strange how much time I spent with my family, that adults didn't spend that much time with their family. When I pointed out he also spent a lot of time with his family, I was imagining and exaggerating things. There was so much going on, and for some reason I didn't realize it. He would make me feel guilty all the time for the smallest things. Me and my boyfriend didn't live together officially because I thought it was too early. But since he had taken a job in the town where I live, for me, he convinced me that him staying here during the weeks was a good idea. I feel incredibly stupid for not standing up for myself. I'm a bit of a pushover, and I guess he realized that if he made me feel guilty, I would eventually give in. And I did. Just so many instances of him pushing my boundaries. Now the update. I called my brother on Saturday morning, and he came and helped me pack everything my boyfriend left in my apartment. Then I texted my boyfriend to break up with him. Maybe I should have done it in person, but honestly, I don't want to see him again. He called a bunch before I answered. He was confused. At first, he tried to ask me what was wrong, what had happened. He got angry when I told him, saying he can't believe I was breaking up with him over a minor disagreement. And when I said him wanting to kill my horse isn't a minor disagreement, he said I must be misremembering. I eventually hung up, texted him that his things were packed and free to pick up on the first floor of my building anytime. Then I blocked him. Haven't heard from him since. I was able to change my locks yesterday, thankfully. Through mutual friends, I got in touch with his ex-girlfriend and we DM'd on Instagram. I don't really want to say everything that she told me as it's not my story to tell, but I will say I'm very happy I got out right now, this early. Since Friday, when I posted, I've spent pretty much all day every day with Lady, my friends and family. I haven't been this happy in months. Can't believe it took Reddit to get me there. Lol. For all those worried about Lady's safety, I too am a little worried, but it's eased by the fact that that A, he never went to the stable with me, so I'm pretty sure he doesn't know where it is, and B, while I live in a country with a lot stricter gun laws than the US, the old man who owns the stable is a hunter and has assured me, with a little wink, he will keep an eye out for any strangers lurking around. So that's all. I'm safe and so is Lady. Both of us are a lot happier than we were 4 days ago, and a lot of it is thanks to all of you. So again, thanks so much for all the kindness. I'm so happy she got out, especially as we are closing in on a shocking update. But before that, just look at that horsey. Look at that little cute freaking horsey. Oh my goodness. But yeah, the update that comes 10 months later is titled Reddit Might Have Saved My Life. I posted on Reddit almost a year ago seeking help and advice on a bizarre situation that happened in my relationship. At the time, I was in a somewhat abusive relationship, or at least the beginning of it. I read my post back a while ago and realized how much I sugarcoated things at the time. Part of me was still in denial, I think. I didn't describe any of the aggressive outbursts, the yelling, throwing things, pushing, grabbing. He never hit me, it never got that far, but in hindsight, I think that's where things were heading. Still, people on Reddit saw red flags and told me to get away. I guess thousands of people telling you something is very effective. I broke up with him that day. I never told my family that Reddit was the reason I left that day. I still feel bad that their concerns and warnings weren't enough to make me leave before it was too late, but random internet strangers were. I've only told my therapist. Sorry that you are not getting more credit in real life, Reddit folk. This week I found out that my ex-boyfriend has been arrested for the murder of his girlfriend. News travels fast between small towns. I knew he had a new girlfriend. They met fairly quickly after I dumped him. I didn't know her or who she was, just heard it from other people. I looked up her Instagram when I found out he was arrested. She seems nice from what little I can make out from pictures and captions. I feel guilty that I didn't track her down when they met and warned her, but when I found out he had another girlfriend, all I could think was, thank God, then he will forget about me. Does that make me an awful person? Maybe. I don't know. And I could never imagine he would do something like this. Even now, it doesn't feel real. Yes, he had anger management issues, but murder, it's difficult to comprehend. I'm rambling, sorry. It's been a crazy few days, but I feel really grateful to the people on Reddit because that could have been me if I stayed with him, if people hadn't shaken me awake. So thank you, Reddit people. Also, you Adam. Hope you rot in hell. The top comment here is hell, I was not expecting that last update, and I fully support this. I don't even know what to say except for I'm so sorry for the girl that didn't make it and who had her life taken away by that monster. I don't think being relieved that he has a new girlfriend makes you a bad person. I mean, you are a victim of this person just as other people would be and were, because he's clearly a danger to society and to women. And while I understand the feeling of guilt for not tracking down his new girlfriend, you can also think about the fact that you can't follow him till the end of his days and warn every single woman that comes across his path. But I mean, yeah, it is up that this ended like that. I really, really, really hope he goes to prison till the end of his fucking days for this, so that he's never out and he never does it to anyone else. Also, can't help but say that Reddit, even though it is a gigantic dumpster most of the time, sometimes is a miracle. It saves people, it, I don't know, supports people, and sometimes it's just a beautiful community to observe in action. Okay, I feel like we don't deserve to go out on this horrific note, so I found a tiny little pick-me-up story for the end that might, just kind of soothe us a little bit. I don't know. It's not about a bad boyfriend necessarily. It's about a dude who lied to get laid, and I've been saving this one for quite a while. It's coming from Confessions. I faked knowing astrology to get laid, and now I run a full moon newsletter. Met a girl at the bookstore. She asked my sign. I panicked and said Cancer rising, Pisces moon, emotionally hydrated, whatever that means. She looked at me like I just read her soul. Long story short, I got lucky. Problem is, she told her friends. Now I've somehow become the emotionally intuitive guy who knows your Venus placement. Oh yeah, he knows your Venus placement. That sounds so dirty. I've read enough birth charts to qualify for a fake PhD. I have an email list. I told a coworker Mercury was in Gatorade just to buy myself a meeting extension. And worst of all, I think I believe in this now. I don't know, I'm still pretty bummed out about the last story and the last update, but this actually made me crack up because this is just priceless. And Mercury and Gatorade is just just sent me howling. I can't handle this. I'm loving how he went with it. So instead of being like, yeah, I don't feel like being everybody's astrologist, he just kind of like fully committed to the act. He has an email list now, and I love it for him. I love it for him. Great accidental character development. Anyway, let's wrap on this. I hope you guys are doing good, keeping yourself safe. Please let me know in the comments what you thought. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you/hear you in the next episode at some point in the future. Bye.